Thank you. Thanks so much for this honor from the Guild. About 10 years ago, it was those fuzzy, fun fur scarves that really caught my eye. And I said, I want to learn how to make one of those. And a very good friend of mine, who's actually here, Michelle, taught me to knit these scarves. And after that, I thought, well, I had this idea that a circle of women could really connect through creating something called prayer shawls. That idea began to take on a whole life of its own. Passion for the project just opened doors and connected me to people that helped the project come to life in 2005 in December. So it'll be 9 years this December since I started the prayer shawl ministry at St. Paul. Since then, the St. Paul Prayer Shawl Ministry has distributed over 1,000 shawls to, as they mentioned, various recipients as new babies, cancer patients, grieving loved ones, military families. There's so many stories that I could tell you of healing and comfort these shawls bring, but I think that I'll just share just one. On a recent trip to Ireland, my husband Jim, while sharing a nightcap, as you often do in Ireland with his friends, met a really, really wonderful Irish couple, Cliff and Nancy. It wasn't long before they shared their story that Cliff and Nancy were in County Kerry for one last special weekend before Cliff was going to begin his cancer treatments. As the group continued to share stories, the couple discovered that Jim was a Catholic deacon, and before the evening ended, Cliff and Nancy asked for a special blessing as the group prayed over Cliff. There were no dry eyes at the bar at the end of that evening. That often happens in Ireland, I understand. When Jim returned home, he told me of this experience, and we quickly do what we so often do and sent them a prayer shawl. A year went by, and Jim and I began to be concerned because we didn't hear from Cliff and Nancy. But after a couple attempts, Jim received word that Cliff was very well, and they were traveling to Philadelphia for a visit, and they wanted to stop by. It was then that Cliff described how he took the shawl to every one of his treatments. He couldn't believe that someone across the seas had prayed especially for him to receive God's comfort and healing graces. In this very deep, embodied way, he could sense the prayer and devotion that was woven in every stitch of that shawl. So grateful was he that he brought a very memorable box of chocolates to share with my knitting ladies, and we shared it at our potluck at the end of the year. At a recent event that Jim and I attended, we heard the spiritual leader, Mark Knipper, describe our own contribution to the world as a place where our own gift and our passion strike against the needs of the world, like a match striking against a flint and setting the world afire. I would like to encourage you to discover that passion or that love that will connect you to the heart of God, like this thread of yarn woven to beautiful fabric of comfort for those who suffer. That may be in your hometown, in your community, in your church, something here that Mount Carmel sponsors, but find that passion. I can't conclude without thanking the ladies of the St. Paul Prayer Shawl Ministry, some of whom are here. Will you stand up, please? Yay, thank you. Thank you, ladies. Over the 9 years, these women have been a tremendous support and had extreme dedication to the group. Thanks too to all my family for coming, and especially for my co-pilot, Jim Knipper. I'm going to ask you now to join me in closing by blessing this shawl that I've brought along with me in case you've never seen a prayer shawl. And this is the blessing that we say for Every single shawl that we give away, we bless in a special way with a certain prayer. And I would just ask you to join me in this blessing for whoever it is that will receive this shawl. And we always bless the shawl with the same prayer. May God's grace be upon this shawl, warming, comforting, enfolding, and embracing. May this mantle be a safe heaven, a sacred place of security and well-being, sustaining and embracing in good times as well as difficult ones. May the one who receives this shawl be cradled in hope, kept in joy, graced with peace, and wrapped in love. Blessed be. Thank you.